Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. And as you all know by now, at the end of every podcast, I always ask every listener to send in their questions and their takeaways from every podcast episode that they listen. And that's open to every single person listening to this podcast in 165 countries. There is an open invitation and opportunity to come on here and use this platform to share your insights and expertise. And I don't just say this for the hell of it, I genuinely mean it. And if I'm completely transparent with you, although I've recorded over 1,000 of these podcast episodes and interviewed tech leaders, huge tech companies, and even the odd celebrity such as Gary Vaynerchuk, Wendy Williams and William Shatner, all of that is incredibly cool that those kind of opportunities come to me. But there is so much more to the tech community than that. For me, the real heroes are those startup founders out there that are working around the clock, riding that startup roller coaster ride, which we all know is full of tremendous highs and dramatic dips. And it's those kind of journeys where there is so much value, so much expertise. And I think it's my job to try and get those voices heard. So when Ari Pham contacted me saying, Neil, I'm a startup founder and long-time listener of the show in Vietnam, and I'd love an opportunity to come and speak on your show about my startup journey and share the thriving startup community in Vietnam. And as soon as I got that email, I must admit I jumped at the opportunity. So enough rambling from me though. Let's take a break from the Bay Area and learn more about how tech and startup life is thriving in Vietnam by hearing directly from a startup founder. So let's go all the way to Vietnam to speak with the listener and friend of the show, Ari Pham. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little more about who you are and what you do?
Hi Neil, thanks for having me. I'm Ari, I'm Vietnamese, and I'm a founder and COO of WatchSignals. So WatchSignals, we is a search and comparison platform for luxury watches. So we have been in this business since 2018, and we are an early stage startups. The problem we are trying to solve is to bring price transparency and market intelligence to the luxury watch industry. As well, we are helping like buyers and collectors and investors of luxury watches, one-stop shop where they have like all the data and insights that they need to make informed purchase decision. So that's about me.
And for a lot of people listening all over the world, they'll be all aware of Silicon Valley and tech unicorns and tech startup communities. But a lot of people won't realise that there's this huge tech startup scene in Vietnam, isn't there?
Yes, it's a very vibrant community here. We got like a lot of startup events, big events here. In Vietnam, government is also supporting startups a lot. So like a lot of young people, like after they got out of university, they decided, to start a business because they get a lot of support from the government as well as like all the other organizations that are helping startups. And here we have good talents for tech companies because Vietnamese are good with math. So our developers are pretty good. And like for a long time, Vietnam has been a place where like people from the US and Europe come here and they want to develop software like in terms of outsourcing. And because we have good talent for tech workers. And then when the startup community start to like rise and become very strong here. So the Vietnamese people now, like we learn to capitalize on what we have. It is the great tech talent that we have, and we build great company with our people. And because if we don't do it, other people from the US or Europe, they see the opportunity, they see the good quality, and they come here and they do it. And for example, we have many unicorn here too. I mean, like unicorn from Singapore, like Grab. So it was a competitor of Uber, and then Uber got out of Southeast Asia, and Grab took place, and they are like making like really huge business here and then they would like to become like like a one-stop shop for like everything you need. So it is not just ride hailing anymore. So and then they have a really huge investment in Grab in Vietnam too. So that's just for example, and then recently we have a startup from Vietnam who is building a solution for route optimization for transportation. So they are trying to solve the problem with which route is the best for trucks for delivery company. So they do it with machine learning. So to have the delivery company use less trucks and can deliver more efficiently. And Vietnam won the first prize in Startup Cup. I think Vietnam is a really interesting place to find tech talents and to develop great products with great people. And also it's much more cost efficient if you compare to Silicon Valley, for example. And yeah, so that's about Vietnam.
And back to Watch Signals for a moment. What is it about Watch Signals that excites you, and what makes this startup stand out from other solutions out there, would you say?
WatchSignals? What does this name mean? And we look at luxury watches as an investment. Luxury watches, they are not just for consumption. They can make really great investment. You can make a lot of money from it. And so we think that, so people buy and sell watches just like they do with stocks. And then with stock, you have signals. There is like great buying or selling opportunity, and you have signal for stock, and we want to have signals for luxury watches. That's why we name our product WatchSignals. This industry we are talking about is not the like authorized retail of luxury watch. We are talking about the pre-owned market of luxury watches. They are inefficient, and if there is inefficiency in any industry, somebody is making a profit out of it. This industry inefficiency is coming from like the brand. They would like to not produce, to let the demand and the supply meet to make the market efficient. So like for example, they produce like 20% less than the demand, and then that's why the people want to own these products more, and then they cannot get it at like authorized stores and authorized dealers. That's why they go to a pre-owned market, and that is where watch dealers or watch collectors are making a lot of money due to this inefficiency. And I just want to share a little bit more about this industry, and because this industry is not a very common industry for pre-owned watches. So luxury watches is one of the best items for you to keep your money worth over like 2 or 5 years. So luxury watches are assets that will appreciate over time, like over 2, 3, 5, or 10 years. So what we are doing with WatchSignals is we are tracking prices of watches. We are tracking the market movement of watches, and with historical data, we will be able to predict the future price of the luxury watches. And the advantage is pre-owned luxury watches really drop in value, like for certain brands that you are looking to invest in. And so I just want to give an example, like for the audience to see the picture clearer with how it works with pre-owned luxury watches. What is it, and what is the investment case with it, and why does this technology make sense. For example, this is a story from someone in Hong Kong. Is where we open our company. So this company, like I'm based in Vietnam, but the company we opened in Hong Kong. So we got a lot of like connections and stories from Hong Kong, and also Hong Kong is a luxury hub, like a lot of luxury goods and buying, selling, trading, and consumption in Hong Kong. So, for example, in 2018, an investor bought two Rolex Daytona 16520, and they are for 250,000 Hong Kong dollar. And then 2 weeks later, there is a buyer. He comes and he offered to buy these two Rolex for 300,000 Hong Kong dollar. So like in 2 weeks, this investor make 50,000 Hong Kong dollar. So that was in 2018. So let's say he didn't sell in 2018, and he is selling those Rolex now. He would make like 120,000 Hong Kong dollar. For example, that just an example of a famous brand like Rolex. And then we have another very commonly sought after brand is Patek Philippe. For example, we have a model, very famous model from Patek Philippe is Patek Philippe Nautilus 5711. So over time, let's look at like the historical price. In 2013, the one with the blue dial, it cost $20,000. So if you bought it 2013, $20,000. Today, 2019, the market price for this watch is 67.6 thousand US dollar. So that's, you make like more than 40,000 in like 6 years. So so those are two examples to get you to see the luxury watches investment is not only for consumption. It's a great hobby to have because you can make money out of it. Yeah.
So I was going to say, as a female founder, though, I mean, what have your biggest challenges as a non-technical female founder from a developing company and breaking into the tech startup world? What have your biggest challenges there been?
For me, it is to find tech talent, and because it's really competitive when all the money are coming to Vietnam from other tech companies in the regions or from Silicon Valley. They are coming here and they are hiring, and they are like giving like a lot like really crazy salaries and benefits that a Vietnamese startup person like me, I need to how to compete with all these companies with deep pockets. And although we have like a lot of tech talent, that's also the big problem. I found like many of my teams from other countries, not just from Vietnam. So like we have Switzerland, Germany, Vietnam, Pakistan, Russia, and Ukraine. And I'm really impressed with quality of tech talents from Russia and Ukraine. And and interestingly, they are open to work remotely. And that's why we have a team of 100% remote across different cultures and country.
I was going to say, running a 100% remote team across different cultures. Now, reading up on you, I think it was Switzerland, Germany, Vietnam, Pakistan, Russia, Ukraine, and so many more. Is that challenging too?
Yes, it was. So when I first started, so it was very challenging, like in communication and in understanding of different cultures, and also like system and process, and like the working time. Everyone has different time zone, and how do you collaborate? And then like we made a lot of mistake, and we got into so many like roadblocks from not having a good system and process, and we learned from that. And now we build a good process, and we have a system for project management. And like for any other company that out there that are running remotely so successfully, they all have like a good project management system in place, and then like good process of how people should interact and communicate and work with each other, and everything is documented. For example, Zapier, like you had a podcast with Zapier earlier, yeah?
Yeah.
And so they had great company with also 100% remote team. So and that's where we want to be. That's the kind of company we are building. And how do I like overcome all these challenges? Is I try to find the people who fit in the culture first, who are happy to be like transparent, because with remote team, like people cannot understand you if you want to tell your message and expect people to read like under the line. So somebody like who are open, who are okay with transparency, and you need to say what you mean, and we bring like issues and problem to the surface, and we discuss it. For example, those are like the main cultures and value things that I look for in talents in a hiring process. And after that, okay, we will have a talk about, okay, this is the problem we are trying to solve. So do you have any suggestion or ideas that you think that would solve this problem? So because I'm a non-technical founder, so I cannot like, okay, this is a technical test, do it. So I'm not doing that. I'm looking for people who have ideas, who are problem solvers. You tell them, okay, this is the problem we are having. So tell me the directions that you think that could solve this problem. So we are looking for like people who are open-minded, who are willing to roll their hand and do research and okay, find, okay, these are the way that we can solve this problem. And that's where I find a very efficient and a good way in hiring for a remote team. And after like after the hire, you need like to train people to adapt to the culture and the process. And also like you need like one-on-one session like every once in a while, like either to call or to like instant messaging, but you need to give feedback to the people and learn from all the successful remote companies what practice they are doing, and then apply for your company. And that's how I learned to run my 100% remote company.
Something else that fascinates me, because you said you're a non-technical female founder, but I've also read that you're harnessing the power of data and machine learning to actually bring price transparency to the luxury watch market. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
So how am I doing it? The first thing I do is, okay, let's find the people who are better than me, who are so good at this in like machine learning and data. Okay, let's find them. And okay, and for us, we found our data team and engineer team from Ukraine and Russia. So they are really, really good. And hiring the people who are better than you, they will tell you, okay, this is what you we need to do to get to this. And for luxury watch market, we at the moment we are inviting a lot of watch dealers onto our platform to list their products. So in order for them to have like visibility and traffic to their stores, as well, in return, we get data and we get to track the data on a daily basis. And then we are working together with other partners that like marketplaces, or like the very like long-term watch dealer in the market that to give us access to historical sales data. And from there we are using machine learning to like analyze and predict the price. And so that's one one part of how we are using machine learning for for our product, to bring transparency to the market. And the second thing, the second thing we are building is we apply like machine learning in product recommendations. To make sure that we recommend the right product at the right time after the customer view certain products. So how to identify the patterns, because they are on watches. So how do we identify pattern of different kind of watches, and what do they have in common? And our plan for machine learning is to build a conversational AI concierge, where like the customer can talk direct with it and say, okay, I need to find this brand, this model, this color, and this specification at this price. And then the conversational AI concierge should reply to the customer immediately. Okay, that is it. So it's more like voice search for e-commerce. So that's what we are like trying to build alongside with machine learning and prediction of watch prices.
And I love how, as a non-technical founder, you're an early adopter of blockchains, exploring ICOs, machine learning, and now voice search. So I've got to ask, I mean, how do you keep up with tech trends and use them to your advantage?
For me, I think it comes first with the mindset. I try to keep my mind very open, and my ear really open too, so I can hear and learn new things. So, for example, I listen to your podcast since like more than 1 year already, and I learned so much, and I found so many good service that I apply for my business actually. So thanks a lot, Neil. And and also like I listen to a lot of tech podcasts. So for some of the podcasts I like is your podcast, or Wall Street Journal, Tech News Briefing, This Week in Startups, and so many. And then I learn a lot. So I really keep up with the tech trends, and then like I go to many tech startup events. For example, like Google DevFest, or Google Cloud Platforms events, like so many. And I also actually like get like hands-on training and experience with, like, for example, Google infrastructure. Like they have like quick labs. They acquired like some years ago, and then like you can, if you go to like Google Cloud platform events, they will give you credits to access to those labs. They cost a lot of money actually for quick labs, and then you get hands-on experience. Okay, data science, how to set up virtual machine, and Kubernetes, and then how to use your BigQuery, and they have like a lot of courses that you can learn from. And for me, I don't do that in order to become technical and actually build something. I learn all that in order to communicate and understand my team better. Okay, what they are talking. They are using this term, and this term. Okay, what is it I should understand? And I should understand how this technology are working together. How to in order to solve the problem that I want to solve. And also there are like so many like free courses and books like you can find online, or you go to a technology library, and you can find so many things. And and just like keep learning, and keep your mind open and learn. And I believe that like everything you believe that you can learn, and then you can learn. But if you start thinking, okay, this is too technical for me, I am not technical, I don't have a tech degree, like this is nothing for me, and and that comes back to the mindset. If you have that mindset, like you will never learn because you already give like you already close the door to your brain, and all information come, it cannot get in. So
that's great advice. It really is fantastic to hear that. And thanks for the kind words. I think it's also great that you've turned to podcasts to teach you and boost your knowledge and keep an eye on those tech trends. But as for you, I mean, what's your primary focus for your business for the next 12 to 18 months? Is there anything else that you can share with us on that?
In the next 12 to 18 months, we are looking to do our first fundraising. Currently, we have been bootstrapping this business, and we got great feedback and market validation from the watch players. So we have invited a lot of watch dealers on our platform and list their product with us. They are from New York, Dubai, Netherlands, Germany, Japan, Hong Kong. Like they are we have like great market validation, and now we are looking to accelerate our business. So after fundraising, we will focus on growth in terms of team, and also for the tech infrastructure. So we are getting more great talents on the team, and then build the platform better and grow more. And we are looking to monetize in 2020 because we don't raise so early, because we at our company we have a mindset of revenue funded. So we are not looking just to raise just for higher valuation and just making a loss. I mean, like because it's a advantage when one of my partner is from banking. So he's always help us to stay down to earth. Don't raise if you don't need that money, and we focus on bringing revenue, and then only raise to grow. Don't raise for the shake up raising, because we already see how it ends.
And we will have people listening in 165 countries, and they'll be hearing your inspirational story. So for those people, what would you say to those that want to do something but keep convincing themselves that they're not qualified, they don't have what it takes, or they've got that closed mindset that you were talking about a few moments ago? What would you say to those people to help them get back on the right track and go for their dream?
Yeah. So your only disadvantage is your mindset. It's not where you come from. It's not which university you study. It's not how much money do you have. It's your advantage or your disadvantage. In which way you are trying to think about a problem or your dreams. So for me, I think you can figure out almost everything in your life if you really put your mind into solving it. And a tech degree doesn't matter. It's not required for you to open a company, for example. If you want to open a tech company, for example, or if you want to do anything, like you don't need a degree or qualification to do that. You can learn everything. Like there are resource and courses everywhere. Just keep your mind open and do research and then learn about it. It's the hard work, the passion, and the resilience. You will fail a lot as an amateur in a new industry, but if you are resilient, don't give up, and then it will get you where you want to be. So what I want to tell to other future founders, maybe future non-technical founders like me. So just believe in yourself and put one foot in another, just like me, and and just keep working. And on some day you will be so happy, you will jump out of joy like a child, and you feel so invincible. But on the other day, when your system, oh my God, it's crashing, it's burning or something, and you get and then you you think that, oh, I'm in so deep crisis. But the next day, if you get a good team, they get it solved, and then everything is okay again. And just keep working. It's a fun journey.
Wow, an amazing story. I'm so glad I managed to get you on the show today. And for anyone listening that would like to find out more information about you, WatchSignals, or even contact you or your team, what's the best way of doing that?
First, go to WatchSignals.com. We have a live chat, like you can ask any question, and I'll be there, or my team will be there to answer you very quickly. And we are like very responsive on Instagram too. Go to watch.signals, WATCH.SIGNALS. So for Instagram. And then if you want to email us for business collaborations, questions, or feedback, or just to say hi, I'm very happy. Just email me at founders@watchsignals.com. It's FOUNDERS@watchsignals.com. Thank you very much for having me today. It's a great time chatting with you.
Ari's story is a perfect example of how technology brings people together, and that every listener in 165 countries now has an invite to come on this podcast and use this platform in the same way that big tech companies in Silicon Valley have, and share their story of how technology is reshaping our world. And I absolutely love the fact that Ari has never recorded a podcast before and has been listening to this podcast in Vietnam. And in doing so, she was able to learn from other tech leaders. But now she is sharing her story and her experiences to people at the beginning of their startup story. And it's just something quite beautiful in that. So a huge thank you to Ari. And I will continue to follow your journey if you are listening to this podcast, and hopefully get to talk to you again in the future, maybe in person, which is something that I always try to do with every guest and listener, which is why I always tell you which events or conferences that I'm attending, because if I'm in your part of the world, it will be great to meet you in person and have a hot cup of coffee or cold beer, depending on your preference. But that's it from me, so keep those questions, virtual voicemails, or requests to come on this show in 2020 by simply emailing me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, tweet me at Neil C. Hughes, Instagram Neil C. Hughes, guess where LinkedIn is? Yeah, Neil C. Hughes. I'm the easiest guy in the world to find. So a huge thanks for tuning in, and thanks for making this podcast what it is. Keep doing what you're doing, gang, because in my eyes, you are the real star of this show. So thanks for listening, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.